Hi there, I'm Gabriel Morris, traveler and author of a number of different books, including Following My Thumb, A Decade of Unabashed Wanderlust. It's a collection of 26 different travel stories of mine from around the world during the 1990s when I was young and footloose and fancy-free and fairly careless. It covers Europe, Western US, Alaska, Hawaii, and India. 26 different stories in there, so I'm going to tell one of them. I lived in Alaska for 2 years, went to college there, and worked in Denali National Park for 3 different summers. So the weekends were usually you go off into the park and go backpacking if we got it together and made it happen. So one weekend then got together a group of 5 or 6 of us. We went out to the park. It's a very long bus ride to Wonder Lake, which is the end of the road as far as where the buses go. The road actually goes a little bit past that, but shuttle buses go about halfway out Denali National Park. You can't drive vehicles out there. You can only drive part way, and then there's a checkpoint, and then only the shuttle buses can take you out there. And they'll drop you off wherever you want. You can hop out, go hiking. Because it's all tundra, there's no trails, or hardly any trails. It's all just open tundra, so you can see where you're going, and if you got a map, then you pretty much can't get lost. But we managed to get lost in a whole bunch of other things. We just fell out of the ceiling. By the way, I should mention that I'm here in a cool cave in South India with a awesome shaft of light here. I've been getting some cool pictures in it. There's a hole in the ceiling here that lets the light in there, so it's a really hot day out there. It's middle of January, but feels like a scorching summer day basically. It's a little bit cooler in here. So myself and my friends head off on this backpacking trip for 2 nights out middle of Denali National Park, and it's a long bus ride. We arrive at 10, 11 at night, but it's still light because it's Alaska in the middle of the summer. And we go to head off the road to go find our camp spot. We set up our tent and everything, and we're all basically half asleep or else asleep, and we hear a ranger come trudging up. And he says, "Hello, folks. Somebody get out of your tent. You guys are in the wrong zone." And it turns out that we'd broken like 3 different rules. You could see our tent from the road. You weren't supposed to see the tents from the road. We were in the wrong zone. We were supposed to be in a different permit zone. We were just barely in this other zone. And we weren't a mile from the park road. You had to be at least a mile from the park road there. So he gave us a ticket. I think it was maybe a group ticket. At least he didn't give us all individual tickets, so I don't remember it being like a huge amount. So that was the start of it. And then we continued the next day. We had an awesome day hiking, and we camped another place the next night. In the middle of the night, then somebody got up to go to the bathroom, and then hollered at all of us in our tents, said, "Hey, you guys, you got to wake up. You got to see this." And we were all asleep. We were like, "Meh, whatever. We kind of don't want to," but I think it was my friend Hattie, and she managed to wake us up. Got us up, and Mount Denali, or Mount McKinley, is just in full view. Like, we were in an ultimate spot, but we couldn't see it the previous day because it was all clouded over, as it oftentimes is. But because it was light, in the middle of the night, then you could still see it, and the clouds had parted, and it was just this absolutely phenomenal view. We got some great pictures. It was maybe 3 in the morning or something, so there was actually a fair amount of light. So that was spectacular. We stood around, checked it out for a while, then finally went back to sleep. Woke up the next morning, and then continued on our way back down the hill from whence we came to head back to the park road, and then to take the shuttle bus back to where we lived and worked that evening. But on the way, we don't quite understand what happened, but things got weird. The first thing was that we lost one of our members of our party. He was hiking along with his Walkman, listening to his Walkman. That tells you how long ago it was. This was summer of 1992. And we were going to go a different direction. He kind of headed off one way, and we hollered at him, Eric, Eric, come on, we're heading down this hill this way, and he couldn't hear us. And so my friend Matt goes running after him. He'd kind of gone up and over a little hill, just a little tiny hill. Matt disappears over this hill, and then a couple minutes later comes back and says, I don't know where he went. He disappeared. Couldn't find him. So with that, we were like, well, he's on his own at that point. And so we continued down the way that we had planned to go. And so I get to the bottom of the hill. It was, because there aren't trails, we were kind of going through willow bushes and things. It got a little bit thick. And so finally I get to the bottom of the hill. And then I go set my pack down somewhere and wait for everyone else to come down. And a couple people come through the trees, come down, and then we're waiting for friend Nathan. And all of a sudden we hear him screaming away at the top of his lungs, just hollering away like he's being eaten by a bear or something. And so we yell back at him, what's wrong, what's going on? And he doesn't respond, he's just kind of yelling away. And so finally Matt once again goes running off to find out what happened, and the two of them, or before that happens, all of a sudden we hear a loudspeaker. Out of the clear blue sky, we hear this loudspeaker blaring at us. And it turns out it was a ranger, maybe the same ranger that gave us the ticket, on the park road nearby, who had heard the yelling from Nathan and drove down there and was like, are you guys okay? What's going on? And I yelled back at him, we don't know what's going on, and then we never heard from him again. He just kind of disappeared. And so finally, Nathan and Matt come down the hill. Nathan's fine. He'd sort of fallen down the hill, but he wasn't really hurt. It wasn't clear why he was yelling away so vociferously, but everything was pretty much okay. And then the last little mystery was I go to find my pack, and all of a sudden I can't find my pack. I left it on this little hill. I go back there, it's gone. I'm looking around, what happened, and finally I find it. It was just on a different hill, but an interesting series of circumstances. So that is The Idiot's Guide to Denali, is that chapter in Following My Thumb, A Decade of Unabashed Wanderlust. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check the link down below. Following My Thumb is available on Amazon.com as both a paperback and an ebook, and on other Amazon sites around the world, and maybe in your local bookstore. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a good day. Safe travels.